Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be talking about reviewing and discussing the Yamaha R3. The goal of today's video is to arrive at a verdict on whether or not this motorcycle right here is a good buy, or if instead you should be saying goodbye. We're going to talk about some specs. I'm going to get you an exhaust clip so you can hear how the engine sounds. I'll take you for a test ride, and we'll finally arrive at our verdict. If you're new here, we mostly do motorcycle reviews. We do some commentary in between. If you like the sound of that, go ahead and consider hitting that subscribe button. And if you enjoy the video by the end of it, go ahead and hit that like button. Let's go ahead and kick things off. Let's start with the specs on the Yamaha R3. Starting at the front of the motorcycle, as we usually do, you'll find a 298mm single disc pinched between a 2-piston caliper. And in the rear, we have a 220mm disc pinched between a single Nissan caliper. The R3 does come with ABS as standard equipment, which is a pretty nice feature to have for newer riders who want a little bit of peace of mind just in case they grab a little bit too much front brake. The combination of the front and rear brakes on this motorcycle should ensure a nice controlled stop in varying conditions under any circumstance. The R3 suspension setup includes a 41mm KYB inverted fork. The rear shock is just a standard monoshock. The combination of the front suspension and the rear offers a balanced ride, providing comfort for daily commutes and stability for more aggressive riding. The beating, pitter-pattering heart of the Yamaha R3 is a 2-cylinder parallel twin engine. This bad little mamma jamma here revs out to as much as 12,000 RPM, produces a peak horsepower of 42 at 10,750 RPM, and has a peak torque output of 21.8 foot-pounds at 9,000 RPM. This engine setup will provide you a thrilling yet manageable riding experience for both seasoned and new riders. And that's gonna bode really well for those who wanna do a little bit of commuting, but have a blend of spirited riding in there as well. And that feisty little engine is mated to a 6-speed constant mesh gearbox, no slipper clutch, nothing super fancy about it, it's just a 6-speed. Let's talk wet weight on the Yamaha R3. Wet weight means all necessary operational fluids to ride the motorcycle: coolant, oil, brake fluid, and gas. Commonly referred to as curb weight because that's how much the motorcycle weighs sitting on the curb, ready to ride. The exact wet weight of the Yamaha R3 is 375 pounds. And speaking of wet weight and fuel in the tank, it'd be a great time to talk about fuel economy for the R3. We find that these get anywhere between 50 to 60 miles per gallon, depending on how you ride it, of course. With a 3.7 gallon tank, you're gonna have a usable range of around 200 miles, but a realistic range is about 160 to 180 before you stop to fill up, because most of us don't run our gas tank bone dry. Most beginner bikes are under 400 pounds, and that's kind of the standard. But I tell you what, 400 pounds is obviously not the standard for your mama. I'm approximately 6'1". I weigh in around 185 pounds, and my inseam is about 32 inches. So combining the R3's 375-pound curb weight with a 30.7-inch class-leading super low seat height, this is nothing for me to throw a leg over, get in the saddle on, and feel like the absolute boss of this motorcycle. Ergonomics are semi-aggressive, I'd say. It's not the most angry motorcycle I've ever ridden, nor does it feel like it, but you can see my rider triangle, my feet are oriented behind my shoulders, my back has a little bit of an arch in it, and I'm kind of forced over the tank of the motorcycle. Now, when you're riding around, you can extend your arms and sit up a little bit. However, the nature of the bike does pull you forward, but it does strike a nice balance between commuter-friendly and sporty riding. Seems to be a recurring theme with the Yamaha R3. I think that's it for the specs so far. So now I want to get you into an exhaust clip. And as an added bonus, here's what an R3 sounds like with a modded exhaust on it. All right, now that the exhaust clip is out of the way, let's go ahead and get into our test ride portion of the video. And that's where we are now. We always start in the big St. Charles Harley-Davidson parking lot. We like to get our brakes bedded in here the best we can. We like to understand where the clutch likes to bite, do a little parking lot test for the mannerisms of the bike. Also like to do a 2 parking spot test to see how sharp we can turn it. And then after that, we'll get out on the roadways. So let's get our first thoughts and impressions of the R3. This is not my first time riding one of these, but this is my first time doing an extended ride on one of these. So, let's see how it shakes out. Usually what I like to do is ramp it up to about 30 miles per hour and then get a nice gradual pull on the lever. Okay. That lever feel could probably be a little bit more improved, is a polite way to put it. Let's try that again. You know, it's not bad. I feel there probably could be some improvements to the feel at the lever, maybe some different pads, or maybe these just need worn in a little bit more prior to them feeling good in the hand. In terms of overall sensation and feel at the lever, I'm gonna give them like a 7.5 out of 10. I think it's a 54.3 inch wheelbase. This thing is wicked flickable right off the rip. Let's try a 2 parking spot test real quick. See how she fares. Here we go. All right, to the end here. You guys know how this goes. I'm on this line. I don't want to turn in before that line. I want to turn in before that line. So, turn the bars, ease out on the clutch, and add throttle, hang the back brake. Here we go. Stellar. Ride that friction zone. Can we tighten it up any more? I mean, I feel like those are some pretty tight circles. It passes the 2 parking spot test. I don't think there's much else left to do in the parking lot, so I guess it's time to get out on the actual roadways and put this thing through the paces. And what's interesting before I get out there is that peak torque doesn't happen until right here in the rev range. That's 28 miles per hour in first gear at 9,000 RPM. All right, well, here we go. For a budget bike, you know, a couple things do feel budget already. The brakes, of course, feel pretty budget. This turn signal switch here is so flimsy and kind of just chintzy. It does the job, but it's definitely not a premium feel, as it's not a premium bike. At a starting MSRP of $5,499, I think the R3 stacks up pretty decently amongst the competition, like the Ninja 500, the CBR 500. You get ABS as standard equipment, which comes at a price premium on the other models, like the Ninja 500. If you get an ABS model, Ninja 500 actually ends up at the same price as the R3. However, Ninja 500 does have a higher peak horsepower output and is around the same weight. Really, the R3, in my opinion, is a little long in the tooth. We could really use an update to not only the cosmetics, but the engine as well, and the display. 2015 was when it made its debut, and the engine's still the same as it was then. So I would really like to see Yamaha bring something new to the table in this beginner segment, maybe even an R4, you know, just bore this thing out, make it a little bit more exciting, a little bit more competitive. That's just me. I'll also chuck it to you guys in the comments. What do you think about the R3? Where does it stand in your eyes? What do you think of it? The 42 peak horsepower is delivered very linearly on this motorcycle. I haven't wound it all the way out just yet, but we'll get to that. As far as around town commuting goes, I'm not completely upright. I can feel the top of my back has a slight arch forward, and that's because of these more low slung clip-ons that don't perch up quite as far as something like a Ninja 500 does. These are a little bit more low slung, so this is set up a little bit better for sporty and aggressive riding than a Ninja 500, but that's not to say that that competitive model couldn't keep up. Nice way to cut that turn there, boss.
Hey, sorry to interrupt, but one thing we absolutely cannot forget in this video is who makes them possible, and that's Big St. Charles Motorsports, our big dealership friend. Come check them out. Here's an ad.
Big St. Charles Motorsports is your premier dealer for everything power sports related here in the Midwest. Located just 20 miles northwest of St. Louis and St. Charles, Missouri, Big St. Charles Motorsports easily has the most inventory and the most brands under one roof. You really will have a hard time finding a bigger selection than what Big St. Charles Motorsports offers. Whether it's the Apex Predator of the top-of-the-line road-going motorcycles, a big touring machine from someone like Indian Motorcycle, or just something in the off-road category from Gas, KTM, Yamaha, Honda, Suzuki, Kawasaki, Can-Am, it doesn't matter. They've got it all under one roof. But it doesn't just stop at the machine. Their parts, apparel, and gear department is stellar. Whether you're looking at something from Shoei, Bell, Fox, Alpine Stars, the employees that work here are sure to get you steered into the right direction. They'll make sure to get you fitted into something so you can rep your favorite brand. Come down and visit them today. Located at 3830 West Clay Street, St. Charles, Missouri. Find them online at BigStCharlesMotorsports.com or give them a call directly at 636-946-6487. Big St. Charles Motorsports and Omnimoto are not affiliated in any other capacity outside of these test ride reviews. If I say something stupid, please don't blame Big St. Charles.
But as far as friendliness for beginners goes, it is quite polite. Quite a polite machine. With hardly any torque down low at all. To get any torque out of this machine at all, again, you've got to be at 9,000 RPM where I'm at right now. And in third gear, that's 50 miles per hour. Let's check second gear, that's 38 miles per hour. And first gear, as we saw earlier, was about 28 miles per hour. The bike does seem to like to be ridden above 5,000 RPM. The engine seems to favor anything beyond that. This bike is very lightweight. Very easy to handle. Very entertaining to ride too. I think part of what makes these small displacement bikes so much fun to ride, not just for beginners, but for advanced riders as well, you have to engage with it. Like, you are forced to engage with the transmission and the engine as much as possible because it doesn't make a lot of power. And it goes back to that adage of what I talked about in a lot of my old videos, where it's more fun to ride slow bikes fast than it is to ride fast bikes slow. And this is another great example of that. You can ride it fast, but you're never going to be truly going fast, per se. You'll be going pretty quick, and that's probably all this bike really is. It's quick. It's not fast. Is it faster off the line than most cars that you're going to come across? SUVs, trucks? Sure. But it tops out at like 115 miles per hour, which isn't really all that fast. So for those of you wondering, top speed on the R3, there you have it, about 115. And some people may beg the question, does the R3 wheelie? And again, you know, it's a privilege that I get to ride these bikes from Big St. Charles, so we're not going to abuse that privilege, but we are going to do a little clutch up in second gear, just bring the front tire off the ground a little bit, nothing crazy. Yeah, so I mean, it could wheelie, and if you really convinced it and, you know, pulled up on it yourself, it would probably do it a little bit better. But just in second gear here, maybe if we slow down a little bit, we might have better luck. Let's try going a little bit slower and doing a clutch up right here. Yeah, so it picks the front end up, but it does struggle a little bit. I wonder if I would have better luck in first gear. Just with such a low torque output, you know, it doesn't have that raw shove of force to pop that front wheel up. But if you gear it right and sprocket this bike right, I've seen them be really, really well-equipped stunt bikes. Obviously, it's not the best at it, nor am I the best at convincing a bike to do wheelies. Whenever there's a little bit more torque on tap and available, it's typically a little bit easier, but I'm no wheelie master. I just do it from time to time to goof around, and because, you know, wheelies are fun. It is pretty playful and fun though. I love the huge range of selectability in the gearbox with 12,500 RPM. So many variables that you can change on each ride while you're experimenting with this motorcycle. Hey look, a Nissan GTR. That's pretty cool. With the R3's excellent blend of approachable power but sporty handling, it almost splits the difference perfectly for, again, both new and seasoned riders who want a bike with some commuting capability while also being able to go out and do some spirited riding and have some fun with it and push the limits. Here's a highway test. And in terms of highway capability, you can see I'm chugging along at 77 miles per hour in sixth gear. I'm only pulling about 8,500 RPM. Goes to 12,500, so I've got 4,500 more RPM to go.
If I am on flat ground, I'm going to drop it down to about 65, and I'm just going to open the throttle 100% and see how long it takes us to get to 80. Put a timer on the screen right now. There it is. So that was 80 miles per hour. It definitely took us a second to get there. If we wanted to grab down a gear and make a pass a little bit quicker though, from 65. And so in fourth gear, 65, and open it up. 80. Much, much quicker. It's definitely not a rocket ship, and you don't have a ton of power beyond 90 miles per hour to be accelerating and getting up to your top speed. It takes a second to get there, but if you're not jonesing for crazy horsepower and just a capable commuter that gets good fuel economy, we're on the right bike. And again, we could even go out and have some fun with it, play around and goof off. For those of you who may not recognize this spot, this is where we do our 0 to 60 testing on these motorcycles. So that's what we're going to set up for right now. We're going to make sure that we're not blocking any traffic, impeding anyone's day. Pull off to the side here, get a good look around, just make sure. Looks like we've got a lone biker over there. No one coming this way. Oh, that guy's on an eliminator. That's so funny. What's really funny is I rode that exact bike in that exact color in that exact spot, and I went that way to that little park over there. If you guys want to see that video and see exactly what takes place whenever you ride an eliminator back in that little park, click the link right up here in the top right of this video. It doesn't look like we're impeding anybody, so let's go ahead and get over here and let's get ready to do a 0 to 60. Got ourselves prepped and ready. Get that leg stretched out, hips starting to cramp up a little bit from the ergonomics on this bike. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1, go! So I can kind of just tell by the seat of my pants that that was not the fastest 0 to 60 run I have ever done. Was it fun doing it though? Totally. Some of these 1000cc motorcycles don't even come out of first gear up to 60 miles per hour. Some of them carry it to almost 100. So again, being on a bike like this that forces you to engage and, you know, push it a little bit, creates for a more dynamic riding experience that is more rewarding. Alright guys, we are heading back to the Big St. Charles Motorsports facility, but before we do that, just a couple of plugs here for you. This protective armor that I'm wearing, this is Alpinestars Bionic Action Jacket, I think V2. There's a link for this in the description below. If you're struggling to find something that is breathable while also being protective in these hot summer months, if you're down south in the Midwest, this has been a godsend for me. It only was 180 bucks. It's got CE rated armor on it. It keeps me protected. Of course, nothing is protective as a full leather jacket, but leather in this muggy, hot Midwest southern weather just isn't feasible every time day to day. Feels like you're going to overheat sometimes. This lets a ton of airflow. It's comfortable. I can move around in it, no problem. Also, Alpinestars SMX Air 2s, I think is what these gloves are. So far, really liking these gloves. Did a video on them a little while ago whenever I first got them. There's a direct link below for purchasing these gloves as well in the description. And then finally, for those of you who see my helmet, like my helmet, know what company the helmet is from, and would like to purchase one of your own, this is a Ruroc Atlas 4.0. This is a carbon fiber shell with a quick release visor system that is very easily changeable. It flows a lot of air. I feel very protected in it. The liner inside is some of the best padding I have ever felt. It's multi-density, it conforms to your head and keeps you locked in. Now, is it the quietest helmet on the market? No. Do they have some aggro marketing strategies? Yes. Did I just recently become an affiliate for these guys?
Also, yes, at the end of June 2024, I was finally accepted into the affiliate program with Rock, which is super cool. I've always wanted to work in some capacity with them, and though I am not directly tied to them, if you guys use that link in the description below to buy one of these helmets, I may be financially compensated. Same with the gloves and the vest. Anyway, back to the R3. We're coming to the end of our test ride here in just a moment. I'll deliberate a little bit, tell you what it does really well, tell you what it doesn't do very well, and then hopefully by the end of it I'll be able to tell you who it's for, who it's not for, and whether or not you should be saying goodbye, or if you should look at it and say, hey, that's a goodbye. One thing I maybe didn't talk about during this ride before we get to that, the clutch pull, super light. I could one finger this all day. It's not adjustable as it is, so one fingering it, I do smash into my other fingers, and that creates a little bit of discomfort on the old knuckles, on the middle finger and the other ones. But it's pretty precise, it feels good in the hand, and it's not a super heavy pull. So I definitely appreciate that out of a beginner bike. Alright, we're finally at the final segment of the video. This is where we arrive at a verdict. So let's talk about the pros of this motorcycle. Really engaging and really rewarding and really fun. Pretty affordable also. New riders can enjoy it, experienced riders can enjoy it. It gets really good fuel economy, it looks the part, and it serves as a sport-oriented bike as well as a commuter-friendly bike. For all of those reasons, maybe you should bust out the old checkbook or call my guys at Big St. Charles Motorsports to get some financing secured on a Yamaha R3, because this is a goodbye, baby. But no bike is without its flaws, so let's talk about some negatives about the machine. It's a little bit aged and long in the tooth. Yamaha really could benefit from some updates on this motorcycle, I feel, just because the competition has updated their products recently, making this look kind of, not necessarily like a dinosaur, but not super hip with the times. I'd like to see Yamaha do better, as they are my preferred brand from Japan. There's basically zero storage on this motorcycle. That's another downside to it. There's nowhere to store anything, so you're gonna have to either get a tank bag and muddy up the looks of your bike, risk scratching your tank, or get a tail bag, which again, muddies up the looks, but provides an effective solution for the lack of storage on the machine. Another downside, if you're getting into motorcycles because you want to make it a hobby, this is a bike that I fear most people may mentally decide that they have outgrown pretty quickly. Kind of a 90-day motorcycle that will feel underpowered after, 90 days, and you'll feel like you got it mastered. But please keep in mind, just because you can twist your throttle all the way open and go in a straight line really fast, does not mean that you know how to ride. Do you know how to ride? Sure, you know how to ride a bike, but do you really know how to ride a bike? And there's a difference, trust me. I know it sounds the same when it comes out of my mouth, but if you only use the throttle, you're going to be punished whenever you have to use the brakes or the suspension to your advantage to make a maneuver, rail a corner, or in any other capacity or situation, use something other than the throttle that all you know how to do is twist. So, something to think about and consider. Do you really know how to ride the bike? And I think if you hold on to this bike long enough, it could reward you, but it does suffer from the kind of gutless, underpowered feeling. Oh, and the ergonomics are not the most comfortable in its class. They're okay, they're not amazing, they're not terrible. It kind of splits the difference, meaning that it's a jack of all trades, but a master of none. Whew! Okay, that was a lot of rambling. For those reasons, you could say goodbye. Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed the test ride portion of this video. It's not over yet. Stick around for the outro. See you there.
Hey, welcome to the end of the video. Thank you so much if you made it this far for watching all the way up until this point. If you enjoyed the content you just watched, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and drop a like on this video. At 20,000 subscribers, I'll be taking the helmet off and speaking with you all face to face. But if you guys do like the helmet on my head, I am now an official affiliate for Rock. If you make a purchase with the links below in the description, I may be financially compensated. Also an affiliate for Revzilla and Cycle Gear. You can check out the links for my gloves and the protective chest piece that I was wearing during the test ride portion, again, in the description below. I don't have anything else to add. Just want to say thanks again, have a wonderful week, and ride safe.